Welcome back. I hope that short video didn't wear you out too much. We've basically gotten to the point right now where we can send a message to nobody, but we do have a subject, we do have a body, and we do know who the message is from. So what we want to do is now we want to be able to send it to somebody, and this is going to get where it gets a little bit fancier and trickier. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Let's start by looking at the front end. And so let's just think about this. So if we have this thing here, we're at the main page, and then you go to your account, and let's see here, public profile. So you can view all users right now. We may change this, but let's go ahead and make the ability to email somebody come from this view all users thing, which, to be honest, this really needs some pagination. I've got some projects that have a lot more users and they get a bit unwieldy, but let's just say that right now you want to be able to send it from, let's say you should either be able to send it from here or maybe when you're viewing the bio. So let's start with this, and we will just I don't know. So let's go to view all users. We're just going to start cracking. So if you'll remember, the very first or second video, we created this settings messaging to know if the messages were enabled. And so we don't want to offer the option up to people to email people if that feature is not enabled. So what we're doing here is we have run a query, I'm guessing at the top, called users queue, and basically we are getting all of the users and we're for eaching through those users. So if you look down here, you'll see for each users as v1. Basically give me the username, give me their bio, give me their gravatar, give me their avatar, and make a chart. And so when we look at this thing, basically if we have 100 users, they're all just going to spew right out here, which is something I actually need to fix. But since we're here, let's say we have this little thing here. Let's say we want the ability to email this user. We're going to make it really simple. We may come back and make it prettier. But let's say, as we're looking at this, we are for eaching users, which this is going through all the users, and it's saying make each one of them v1. And so this is the username, this is their bio, this is their email. But what's important here is this is their ID. And so you want to know the ID of the person that you're going to email. So, and you'll see that what happens is if you click on this, you're redirecting them to profile.php with an ID of whatever that user's ID is. And so this is going to make a little bit more sense in a second. We're going to come in here and we're going to make another, let's just make another column in the table. So if I come up here to my table, I have username, let's see here. Yeah, let's look here. I'm a little lost on my own stuff here. So if I were to look at this page, okay, I'm just seeing username and then their information. So let's just go ahead and say, I don't love this. Yeah, let's make another column. All right, so we're going to say username, and then we are going to say message. And then down here, we're going to add another column, or another row, sorry. Another column, I'm right. Right here. So we're going to just add another column, and we're going to say message, and then let's go ahead and echo out their name. So we're going to copy this. We're going to break into PHP, and we're going to say message this person. So we're just going to refresh the page, and hopefully that looks somewhat decent. So nope, we got nothing there. So we must be outside the for each loop or something. So let's look at it again. And oh, I forgot to echo. So we echo that out, and right now we're just going to keep it kind of simple. and we are going to message admin or message user or message whoever these people are. So now we want to make a link. And so basically what we want to say is we want to wrap this entire thing here. So this is the username and this is the word message. So in front of this we want to make a link. And so I'm just going to do href, and then let's say create message. This is the page we just made, .php. And then we're going to do what they call a get variable, and that'll make sense if you're not familiar. You'll see that real quick. But we're going to put ID equals, and then what we want to do is we want to echo in the user's ID, which since we're going for each user's as v1, we're going to do v1, which needs to be a variable, v1 ID, and then we're going to close the PHP, and then we're going to close the link on the other side of this. And so this will make a lot more sense in a minute. So basically what we do is we made another column in the table, and as soon as that column starts, it creates a link, and it says create message, and then it's going to pass the user's ID that you clicked on in there, and then it is going to close that link. And so let's refresh this page. And you'll see, so now this is turned into a link, and we can make this prettier. But right now we have this link, and when I click it, now it gets interesting because you have user ID 1, and this is the admin's user ID. So if I click here, I think you know where we're going with this, it's going to be user ID 2. So now that we have this, we can do something with it. And so what we want to do is go back to our existing page, which is the create message. And this is what's cool about input get. So in the event that it does not find the information it's looking for in the post, then it is going to go to the URL for it. So check this out. ID equals input get ID. And so what it's going to do is we just told this thing, look for something that says ID equals something in here and get it. And so if I were to come in here and save this page, let's say I'm going to just immediately do something called dump and die, which is going to kill the page and give me ID back. So check this out. If I do this and I refresh the page, it's going to kill it, and it's going to say just 2, not ID equals 2, just 2. And if I come back to the previous page and I click on it, it's going to give me 1. And so we now know the user ID of the person that we're trying to email. So this is going to happen really fast. You ready for this? We're going to delete the dump and die, and we are going to tell it that message 2, we're going to copy this. And I think if we look at let's go back and look at our database, we're going to see that there is a column called message 2. And we're going to come in here and we're going to change this to message 2, and then we're going to pass that ID in there that we just got from the URL. So if I save this, now when we come to our form, I'm going to refresh the page. So now I'm going to send, I am user ID 1. So let's go ahead and send, we're going to change this to. So I am logged in as admin, which is user ID 1. And we're going to send a message to user ID 2. Send, and if everything is right, then when we come to the database, we are going to see that now we have 3 messages. I botched it. Okay, so this worked, but something happened here. Message 2 did not work. So for some reason, it didn't grab that up there. Oh, I know why. I know why. So what happened was, when we were posting, we were sending it to create message, but we were not including that get variable. So you actually need to come in here and add this, and then we need to add the ID. And so we need to tell it when you submit the form, make sure you don't forget what this ID was, because it's important. So now watch this. We're going to come in here and we're going to refresh the page. Actually, we're going to come back here. We're going to send this. Let's send it to user ID 2. And then we're going to say, this should work. Did it? Bam, let's see what happened. So now, I messed up. Okay, this is why we're debugging. So let's look here. So what we forgot was the ID. You guys saw that, I'm sure. So we need to pass in create message with, and then you have to have the, and the reason why we're doing this, let me just stop. I'm not trying to hurry through this. But right now the URL is ID equals whatever the ID is. So if you come here and you look at this, this is ID equals 2. And so this needs to still be formatted this way. So create message.php ID equals 2 or 3 or 27 or whatever. And so if I were to come in here and save this and refresh the page. Okay, for reals this time. Let's look at it. Bam! Okay, so we sent a message to the user 2. So from message 1, from user 1 to user 2, okay, for reals this time, and bam. So took me a little longer than I expected, but you saw the mistakes I made, and hopefully you'll know how to fix them.